Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Jaya Radha Gopinatha Radha Gopinatha Ji Hare. Jaya Radha Gopinatha Radha Gopinatha Ji Hare. Jaya Radha Gopinatha Radha Gopinatha Ji Hare. Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Rama Nitya Gaura Hare Rama. Nitya Gaura Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Rama Nitya Gaura Hare Rama Hare Rama. Jaya Vishnupada Paramahansa Shri Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Gaur Premanandi. I'm going to use this. You can take this. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. This morning we're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 1, Text 6. Tam Kamayanam Bhagavan. Tam Kamayanam Bhagavan. Uvahaya Jusampatihi. Tushtayam Toshamapano. Janayad Vadasatmajan. Tam Kamayanam Bhagavan. Uvahaya Jusampatihi. Patihi Tushtayam Toshamapano. Janayad Varasatmajan. Someone else? Vaishnavis? Bhagavan. Kamayan Bhagavan Uvahaya Jusampatihi Tushtayam Toshamapano Janayat Varasatmajan Tam Kamayanam Bhagavan Uvaha Yajusam Patihi Tushtayam Doshamapano Janayat Varasatmajan. Word for word. Tam, her. Kamayanam, desiring. Bhagavan, the Lord. Uvaha, married. Yajusam, of all sacrifices. Pati, master. Tushtayam, in his wife, who was very much pleased. Tosham, great pleasure. Apana, having obtained. Ajanayat, gave birth. Vadasa, 12. Atmajan, sons. Translation. The Lord of the ritualistic performance of Yajna later married Dakshina, who was anxious to have the personality of God as her husband, and in this wife the Lord was also very much pleased to beget 12 children. Purport. An ideal husband and wife are generally called Lakshmi Narayana to compare them to the Lord and the goddess of fortune, for it is significant that Lakshmi Narayana are forever happy as husband and wife. The wife should always remain satisfied with her husband, and a husband should always remain satisfied with his wife. In the Chanakya Shloka, the moral instructions of Chanakya Pandit, it is said that if a husband and wife are always satisfied with one another, then the goddess of fortune automatically comes. In other words, where are we? In other words, when there is no disagreement. In other words, when there is no disagreement between husband and wife, all material opulence is present, and good children are born. Generally, according to Vedic civilization, the wife is trained to be satisfied in all conditions, and the husband, according to Vedic instruction, is required to please the wife with sufficient food, ornaments, and clothing. Then, if they are satisfied with their mutual dealings, good children are born. In this way, the entire world can become peaceful, but unfortunately in this age of Kali, there are no ideal husbands and wives, therefore unwanted children are produced, and there is no peace and prosperity in the present day world. Tam Kamayanam Bhagavan Uvayan Yadusam Pratihi Tushtayam Toshamapano Janayad Varasatmajan. The Lord of the ritualistic performance of Yajna later married Dakshina, who was anxious to have the personality of God as her husband, and in this wife the Lord was also very much pleased to beget 12 children. Continuing on, this section of the Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, the first chapter, in regard to Swayambhuva Manu and Satarupa, his queen. We were talking yesterday about the direct sons of Lord Brahma, the Kumaras, and then Lord Shiva, and then of course Lord Shiva is transcendental personality, always existing, but he appeared and from Brahma in this particular instance. And also then we have the Manashaputra, the mind sons appearing from the different parts of the body of Lord Brahma. And I was saying yesterday, Pulaha, Pulasya, Angira, Vashishta, and so on, Brigu, Narada, and Swayambhuva Manu. And of course we have been reading how Swayambhuva Manu, Kuti, Prasuti, and Devahuti had 3 daughters, 2 sons, Priyabrata, Uttanapada, but he wanted the son of his daughter Kuti to come back to his house, to his household, because he was going to be the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead named Lord Yagya. So this is where we are here today, about Lord Yagya. And he is, I was telling yesterday, that he is a special avatar meant to personify the performance of ritualistic ceremonies, yagyas, that are very much needed in society for upliftment of the position of the human beings, and coming ultimately to worship the Supreme Yagyapati, the Supreme Lord Yagya, or Vishnu or Krishna. Yagyatat kamanunyata loko jam kamabanda taratam kamakonta mukta sangha samachara. We were quoting this verse from Bhagavad Gita yesterday, that worshipping Lord Vishnu is the goal of all yagya, and to do so, mukta sangha samachara, it gives one liberation, even though one is acting, the fruits of the actions are offered to the Lord. But if one doesn't do that, then karma bandhana, your karma will give you bondage. So Prabhupada quoted this karma, no? It's very hard to understand what is the action and reaction. I was talking about this yesterday. What is karma? What is vikarma? What is akarma? Akarma means action. You're doing actions, but you're not producing material reactions. You're producing reactions of a spiritual nature. You are coming directly under the auspices and mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna, and in this case we are talking about Lord Yagya, very special incarnation. And also we mentioned yesterday, because at that time in the rule and the reign of Swayambhuva Manu, there was no one qualified to be the Lord Indra. Lord Yagya himself assumed this position and showed very exemplary how to be the king of the heaven and how to give prosperity. By doing the example, so many will follow. Yad yadacharitri sheshta. So therefore, great leaders of the world should set good example, and the standards they set, all the world pursues. This is from Krishna also giving nice instruction in Bhagavad Gita. So it's very important that leaders set good examples. Otherwise, if they don't set good example, then others who are in a lesser position will just do any activity. So he set good example. Also mentioned that he is a Kalpa avatar. He is listed as one of the Manvantar avatars. There's different type of avatar: Yuga avatar, Leela avatar, Purusha avatar, and so on and so forth. And we have Manvantar avatar. Every change of the Manu, there is a personality of Godhead who is considered to come and to show the example of what is actually the religious, what is the Dharma? What is the Dharma for that Manvantar? So very kindly, the Lord was very kind, appeared as Lord Yagya and appeared in the Swayambhuva Manu. Now we're in the Vaivashvata Manu, and before was Chakshusha Manu, and going right back to Swayambhuva Manu. So in that Manu, now every Manu, a different incarnation comes and shows the way of the religiosity and so on. And so in this time was Lord Yagya. And so he is Lord Narayan. He is a plenary portion of the Supreme Personality. He's a plenary expansion. We're talking about different types of expansions. Swayam Rupas, Swayam Prakash, Swayam Prabhav, Swayam Vaibhav, Swayam Vilas, all different names for these types of incarnations. So he is what's called he is not exactly in the Rupam, not the original personality of God, that is Krishna. Swayam Rupam is Krishna, he is original. And then the first expansion is Lord Balaram, and on the other side Srimati Radharani. She has her own Shakti, her own category, Ladini Shakti. And on the other side is Lord Balaram. So we have the Swayam Rupam and Swayam Prabhav and Vaibhav. And then we have Vaibhav, a little bit different. Vaibhav Prakash is, you could say, is Lord Yagya. And so here we're seeing that actually both Lord Yagya and Dakshina were born simultaneously from Akuti, the son and daughter from Ruchi. And so, as promised, Ruchi handed Yagya back to Swambhuva, and he kept Dakshina. But of course, they are eternally united. They are Lakshmi Narayan, eternal, the divine couple. Of course, the original divine couple is Radha and Krishna. From Radharani, so many expand, all the gopis are expanded, and then the queens of Dwarka, then the Lakshmis, are all expanded actually from Radharani, and then from Krishna, Balaram, and then we have Sankarshan and Chatuvyuha, all they're all nicely explained in the Brahma Samhita, also Srimad Bhagavatam later. So how the expansions come, how they come into the material world. And so actually they are eternally husband and wife. Eternally and husband and wife. Lakshmi Narayan has come again as Yagya and Dakshina. And she was very glad to be reunited with her eternal husband, Lord Yagya. And as mentioned here, they had the 12 children, and they were assisted their father in overseeing the affairs of the material universe. They were known as the Yamas, and I think the names were given. Tosha, next verse. Tosha, Pratosha, Santosha, Bhadra, Shanti, Idaspati. The 12 boys born of Yagya and Dakshina. Tosha, Pratosha, Santosha, Bhadra, Shanti, Idaspati, Idma, Kavi, Vibhu, Spanna, Sudeva, and Rochana. These are the 12. He had 12 sons, so they assisted their father. So actually, we read the next verses. These sons became demigods, collectively named it Tushitas. And Yagya became the king of the demigods, Indra. So all this is explained as we read in the next verses coming up. But here, very interestingly, Prabhupada gives a wonderful purport in regard to ideal husband and wife. Ideal husband and wife can actually be called like Lakshmi Narayan. And one is the husband is supposed to be representative of Lord Narayan, and the wife supposed to be representative of Lakshmi. So if you're the representative of someone, you better behave very nicely. You have to behave very nicely. Prabhupada always told us, you are my disciples, so you have to behave very nicely. If you do something bad thing, then people will criticize, and they'll criticize the guru. I will be criticized. What type of guru they have, that they are acting like that. So I will be criticized. So we want to spread the Krishna consciousness movement very nicely. Of course, Prabhupada was not so much affected by criticism, only that he wanted to spread the Krishna consciousness movement everywhere. So sometimes that can be affect adversely. How to spreading the Krishna consciousness. So as far as possible, of course we have to spread the Krishna consciousness movement, and there's always some who want to put very unnecessarily obstacles. Sometimes we have to say something, but generally speaking, one has to be well behaved and be reflecting, be thinking I am representative of my guru, and the guru is representative of his guru, and so on and so forth. And ultimately we are representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So here it is said that Lord Yagya and Dakshina were very happy in each other's company, as they are eternally happy in a transcendental way, in a transcendental position, just like Radha and Krishna. Of course there's all different leelas. Sometimes we read that Krishna plays tricks on Radharani, Radharani plays tricks on Krishna. Sometimes she becomes a little angry with him. But this is all to enhance the intimacy of their divine love. This is some real thing. It is not some materialistic thing. So, but generally, they are not only happy, they are very blissful. So, to be actually, one has to be peaceful to be happy. This is another verse from Bhagavad Gita. One has to have the transcendental intelligence and mind, and then from that one can be peaceful. But if this one is not peaceful, where is the question one can be happy? So Prabhupada actually mentions this, that husband and wife should, now here, Prabhupada says that Lord Narayan and Lakshmi are forever happy as husband and wife, and the wife should remain sad. So Lakshmi Devi is always satisfied with Lord Vishnu. Vishnu is always satisfied with Lakshmi. I was telling the story in one temple. It was Gopastami, and I was telling the story. At that time, Maharaj Nanda did one ritualistic ceremony, because at that time Krishna was going from looking after the cows to going to looking after the, or rather he was looking after the calves, and he was going now from Kumara to Puganda age. Up to 5 years is considered Kumara, and then there's Puganda, then Kaishora and Yogana, different ages. So from 5 to 10 is considered Puganda age, and so at 5 or thereabouts, the boys graduate to looking after the cows, and one can do some ceremony like that. Everyone is invited. Sometimes some brahmanas that can come do some yajna ritual, and then they go from the calf to the cows, and then they go out in the fields. And so Nanda Maharaj arranged everything, but Krishna said to Subal, one of the cowherd boys, his close friend, he said, I'm really missing Srimati Radharani. Please bring her here. And so Subal said that, well, no, this is only for the boys, this today. It is boys' function. Only the boys, because it's we're going from the calves to the cows. Only the boys. So it'll be very difficult to bring Srimati Radharani, and she wanted to bring her friends also. So I don't think it's such a good idea. No, I'm very much missing her. Somehow or other, think of a way how to do it. And so Subal went away, he was thinking. So then he went, and of course Srimati Radharani was there, Bashan, so he had to go a long way. And so he hatched a plan. He was carrying one calf, and as he got close, of course Kutila was there, and Jyotila, they're always very careful about Radharani, because they know that she wants to run away and be with Krishna. So there I was watching her. So as Subal came close, he put the calf down and he twisted the tail of the calf, so the calf ran off, and it ran off in the direction of where Radharani was staying. So then he was chasing after. This was his plan. And so Kutila shouted out, "Hey, what are you doing?" "Oh, one of the calves has run away, and the mother is crying. So I'm just going to chase that calf and bring it back to the mother." It's a very strange thing. You're all the way over here. You normally don't come anywhere near this place. Why is it you're all over here all of a sudden? And he was suspicious. There's some suspicious thing is going on. So I don't know. I've been running after this calf a long time. And then finally I'm coming near, so don't, please, let me catch the calf. So I said, all right, it is over there, go catch it. So the calf was running past the place where Srimati Radharani, so Subal went inside where Srimati said, he snuck inside. And so Subal is looking actually a lot like Srimati Radharani. He's got very fair complexion, golden complexion, and he looks very much like Srimati Radharani. So when he went inside, he said, "Krishna, we want you to come, but you cannot come looking like you are. So then we'll change clothes." And he had a turban and everything. "We'll change the clothes." So then he changed the clothes, and he put the turban on Radharani and all his clothes, so she was looking like cowherd boy. And then he wore her clothes, and she made him up, everything like that, so he was looking exactly like her. And so then then Radharani, dressed as Subal, went out and started chasing the calf, caught the calf, and then was walking past Jyotila and was just waving, "I caught the calf now." "All right, we'll be more mindful. No need to come all the way over here. Just keep the calves over there where you normally go." And so she said, yes, and she was just waving like that, and she walked past, and she was looking, and meanwhile she saw Subal, who was in Radharani, still there. Radharani didn't go anywhere, so she's still there. And so and Subal was coming back, and after some time he was coming near Krishna. So Krishna looked up, and he saw Subal, or rather Radharani was coming, and he looked up and he saw who he thought was Subal. So he was very disappointed. "Oh, you weren't successful. You couldn't bring Srimati Radharani. And Radharani just was going along with it. And she said, yes, it was too difficult, Jotila was there, Kutila was there, it was just too difficult. I couldn't arrange it, I'm very sorry. But if you like, I can bring Chandravali here. I can bring Chandravali. And so Krishna said, no, when you want milk, yogurt won't do. No, I remember I was just telling that story and they go past me. When you want the milk, yogurt won't do. So actually he's always wanting the Srimati Radharani. So sometimes though, Krishna plays tricks on Radha and Radha plays tricks on Krishna. And sometimes Radharani becomes a bit frustrated with Krishna and she becomes a little angry. But there's all transcendental lila just to enhance their affection for each other, their love for each other. So, but it's not like in the material world where you have the people, husband and wife, they're very difficult to get along with each other. Here, Prabhupada actually mentions in the Vedic system, when you have the proper dharma, when religious principles, and there's the religious principles as we were saying yesterday, will be followed nicely when there's Vana and Ashrama. And Prabhupada, right throughout the Bhagavatam you can read, he mentions Vana and Ashram a lot. And unfortunately, there's no formal system of Vana and Ashram. Although we have the natures of the people, still you always have the intellectual class, which is like the Brahmanas, your academic class. Of course, they're unfortunately not very religious as the Brahmanas are. But anyway, you have because the modes of nature are putting the living entities in bodies and in activities that are just according to their qualities. So you always have academic intellectual class, you always have the governing administrative class, and you're always going to have mercantile class, the business people, and you're always going to have labourer class, the tradesmen. You see even in the Western societies, and you're always going to have the student class, you're always going to have the family, you're always going to have the retirees, and those who you don't have so much completely detached people, but more or less there's a semblance of Vana and Ashram, but without any real ashram or Vana or without any Dharma. The difference is there's no real Dharma there, although the people are following sometimes the Islam or the Christianity, but how much exactly they're following, we don't know. But when there's this Vana Ashram system, automatically yajna will be there. Automatically religious principles will be there. And when there's religious principles, the guiding principle of everything is Dharma, and according to Vana Ashrama. And according to your Vana, according to your Ashrama, there'll be general principle, general Dharma, and there'll be specific Dharma, Svadharma. So everyone will have like that. And so when that is the guiding principle, and that will be there, of course, in husband and wife relationship. Husband and wife relationship, and they are together, and they are living religious life, according to Vana and Ashram. So when the guiding principle is that, and you're offering worship, especially to Lord Vishnu, then there'll be more peacefulness. If the guiding principle is just sense gratification, then there'll always be fighting. Always be fighting, because the goal is materialistic life. How to get more. I read many years ago one survey, I don't know why they did it, but a survey over many countries of married couples about what is the number one reason for arguing and fighting in the married with the married couples. What is the number one reason? Who can say? According to this survey done over 25 countries. What is the number one reason for fighting? Money was given as the number one reason. Money. Money is the number one reason. Not enough, this, that, so many things. All in relation to money. Money is the number one cause of argument. And arguing from the beginning of the day till the end of the day. So always arguing, and so you can never be happy Now here, Prabhupada mentions also about the girls were trained and the boys were trained in Varna and Ashrama. And all the different training was there. Generally, you know, especially the higher, the Brahmin and the Kshatriya, the Vaishya, they would go to the Gurukula and they were trained how to be peaceful, how to be tolerant, how to be forbearing, how to follow nicely all these principles. But today, so they're trained how to be satisfied, not wanting, more, hankering, and then here it is mentioned in where there's hankering, wanting more, never satisfied, hankering and lamenting, duality of the material world. Where there's hankering, there'll always be lamenting, and then when there's lamenting, and then you're always anxious. Are you going to get that thing you want? So in the relationship, if the relationship is based on materialistic sense gratification, they'll never be satisfied because they'll, you know, and then people change. People change because there's no constant. See, if you're following the religious principle according to Varnashram, there's a constant. So you remain, maybe your personality has changed, but you have a constant. But in ordinary relationships, yes, everything is based on sense gratification, so those desires are swirling around. Emotions are there with the men and with the ladies even more. Emotions are swirling around. So one emotion can become strong, that pushes you, and then another one becomes strong. Maybe a few emotions together are pushing you. Tomorrow will be a different thing. Sometimes in the morning I wake up feeling one way. Next morning I'm feeling other way. There's emotions, and it is all being pushed by the modes of material nature. Rajagun, especially Rajagun and Tamagun, and there's some Sattvagun, a little bit in Kali Yuga, not much. but especially Rajagun and Tamagun. So they're swirling around, just non-stop, because trying to satisfy all these emotions and all these desires, trying to satisfy through the senses. Seeing something, I want to see more, I want to feel more, I want to taste, I want to hear, I want to do so many things. I have so many desires, unlimited desires, hundreds and thousands. Anika, what is that verse? Anika, I forget now. That's from the Bhagavad Gita. Unlimited desires of the living end, of the conditioned souls, unlimited, and then trying to satisfy them through your body, through your mind, through your intelligence, through your emotions. People are so pushed by their emotion. Now, emotions is number one priority. To fulfill your emotions. Your emotions could tell you jump off the cliff. Sometimes like that. When you go high in the mountain, sometimes you feel, I just want to jump off and fly. Sometimes when you look out, look, it wouldn't be nice to jump and fly. But imagine if you allowed. Your feeling is like that, isn't it? Your feeling. We can't just base everything on our feelings. We have to use our intelligence. If we base everything just on the feelings, then we'll go all over the place. Today I'm feeling this, so I must go like this. Tomorrow I'm feeling I must go like that. Non-stop. Feeling, I must satisfy my feelings. Be true to you. Sometimes they say like that, especially Western. Be true to yourself. Meaning, be true to your own feelings. Well, what is that feelings? What is that feeling? You're feeling, I'm feeling miserable. Well, why not feel happy? No, because I'm feeling miserable. But no, you should be happy. But they can't be happy because everything is... So when you've got the two people in the relationship, that everything is based like that, there's no guiding principle of the religious principle. There's no real constant. The only constant that you could say is materialistic sense, but it can't be constant because it's always changing. It cannot be, just by definition. Cannot be constant. Always change. So therefore, one is thinking one way, one is thinking the other way, one is thinking has certain expectation, another one has a different expectation. We need more money, not enough money. We need more bigger house. We can't get the bigger house. We need so many things. So therefore, then fighting. You can't be happy when you're fighting, and you can't be peaceful. And then, as I said, going back to the point, as Prabhupada says here, he says there's no training. No training for the girls, no training for the boys. Prabhupada makes this point, very, very good point. I noted it, very, very good point. And the training is based on Varna and Ashram. Training is there. Training must be trained. Hey, Prabhupada used to tell it, I'm just training you boys and girls. I remember one time walking with Prabhupada in the botanical gardens. And he said, what is the name of that tree over there? And someone said, Prabhupada, I think it's this tree. And so you think? You don't know? No, I'm just thinking, is it called like that? You think? Go over there and see, because on the botanical, all the names are there. Go and look. And so there's the Latin name usually, and then they give the English. And so he came back. So was what you were thinking? No, it was actually a different tree, Prabhupada. Different tree. See? He said, don't think, no. Don't think, no. Therefore I'm training you. I'm training you how to get the knowledge. I'm thinking this, I'm thinking that, maybe this, maybe that, perhaps this, perhaps that. Prabhupada used to call modern society maybe perhaps society. Maybe perhaps. Maybe we'll bring this legislation in the government policy. Maybe. Yes, let's try. Oh, after a few years, oh, not very good. Let's amend it. We'll change it. Let's try this one. Do you all agree? So we have this system, democracy, where everyone can vote. What is the qualification of the people to vote? In Australia, for example, everyone has to vote, compulsory even. Australia is one of the only very few countries of the world where it's actually compulsory to vote. But anyway, it's compulsory, you have to vote. So now it's time to vote for who will be the Prime Minister. Now what do you know about this person? But everyone is required to vote. I remember there was one Prime Minister, he would go on the TV and he was be seen with the people drinking the beer. And he always liked to be drinking the beer, being at the barbecue. And every time he was like that, to be seen to be like the common person. So everyone was thinking he doesn't know anything about this Prime Minister. So, oh, he's a good fellow. He's just like us. Look, he's drinking the beer. He's eating the sausage. Must be good. Oh, I'm voting for him. And he's the best. He's eating the sausage. He's drinking the beer. He's the best one. Therefore, I'm voting like that. And what type of voting is this? What qualification? No qualification to vote. Well, Prabhupada used to call it not democracy, he used to call it demon crazy. You get what you deserve. You say everyone wants to complain. When the leader's in, then everyone wants to criticize, complain. But you voted him. So why are you complaining now? So you voted. So all these systems are imperfect and always changing continuously. So how people in general can be actually really happy, there's no constant thing. And so, but no training, no real, I mean, you have the education in the schools today, but that is on the technical side of things. There's no training, real training as far as character, spirituality, no real training as far as that concerned. They have maybe like this and maybe like that. But actually, according to Vedic system, according to Varnashram, there is training. And so the ladies are trained how to be satisfied, and the men are trained how to look after when they go into the grihastha life. These days, people that go into the marriage, there's no training about what is the marriage. Nor do they generally, quite especially in the Western countries, there's no consultation. Oh, I like this girl, she's got nice hair, I'll marry her. I like this boy, he looks handsome, we'll marry. So I love you, then after 2 months I hate you, get away, I never want to see you again. Like that. So what is this system? This is not a system. It's not a system. So here, Prabhupada says, if the husband and wife are always satisfied with one another, then the goddess of fortune automatically comes. So they're following the principles of Varnashram, and they're acting very nice. And now Prabhupada actually says that according to Vedic instruction, the husband is meant to make sure he has to provide. There must be sufficient food, there must be ornaments and clothing. You'll have a certain nature, you'll have a certain occupation. So the expectation, if one is a Brahmana, there'll be it's not that there'll be a lavish lifestyle, and that will be known beforehand. The Brahmana, if someone who's actually Brahmana, then normally the girl will marry knowing exactly what is the nature of the boy, and then their calculation will be there astrologically, and everyone is consulted. It's not only the boy and the girl, not only their feelings. What is the compatibility? All these things have to be studied, and long before. Otherwise, you go into marriage, instead of being blissful, it becomes like the hell. And this is mentioned actually. Prabhupada says when the man provides for the wife very nicely, and the wife, she is satisfying the husband very nicely in an appropriate way, then everything becomes peaceful, and then there can be happiness. Of course, in the material world, you can't have complete happiness; not possible. Lakshmi Narayan, they're a transcendental couple. I think in their astrology, I think the ideal, of course, is Lakshmi Narayan. Then they have like Lord Shiva and Parvati. They're very, I think I'm not an expert, but they have a certain percentage of compatibility, and Lord Shiva and Parvati a very high percentage of compatibility. And then when they do the calculation and the boy and the girl, and then you see what is the percentage compatibility, and what is the nature, what is the future. All these things are considered, and then everyone is consulted, and then you get the blessings of everyone. Everyone is satisfied. And then you can go into the marriage in a more very discerning way, very considering every aspect, and there's a more higher chance if it actually is done properly. And in the marriage, you're following nicely now for devotees, of course, to be Krishna conscious. If you always try to be Krishna conscious, attending the temple functions, at home, chanting, especially initiated cycle, all these things, there's a higher possibility that the marriage will be all right if it is considered beforehand very, very nicely. So otherwise, if there's not satisfaction, there's dissatisfaction, there won't be peacefulness and then when there's not peacefulness, so when there's peacefulness in the marriage, as Prabhupada says here, Lakshmi comes, prosperity will be there. Sankaro narakayava kulaganam klasicha. Now, when there's not that peacefulness, when there's not that dharma, there can't be happiness. It is adharma. And then when it is adharma, when there's no peacefulness, you don't attract, when the children come, you don't attract the higher quality living entities to come as your children. You understand this point? In one sense, it's very scientific. Very, very scientific. And it's like breeding very nicely. When you're in the good consciousness by following Varnashram nicely, then and then the samskaras are performed, and then your consciousness will be high. Then you'll attract, by the arrangement of Krishna, Kamana Deva Nectarina, and by the agents of Krishna, living entities with higher qualities will go and become your children. Because you're peaceful, you're happy, then these types of children will come, and they'll also be good children. But if that's not there, and Prabhupada emphasized on this point, unfortunately in the Kali Yuga, no one is following any of these things. And so therefore, I was reading one survey that what is the lifespan of a marriage in the different countries of the world, and they've done some survey or something like that. The lifespan of a marriage, and they're talking about first marriage even because there's so many marriages. The first marriage in America is like 8 to 10 years. Similar in Australia, similar in many other Western countries. Some other countries more longer in Asian countries. I think India is longest. Or up there. I forget exactly how many years, but so in the first marriage, first marriage in the Western country like America or Australia, 8 to 10 years. That's what they say. That is the average of the lasting of the marriage in the Western countries. So there's dissatisfaction, and so when there's dissatisfaction, one has to go back to the Krishna consciousness, as much as possible, as much as possible. So, and then when the good children come, because of the high consciousness, everything is nice. And Lakshmi is very happy, and prosperity will be there. Prosperity will be there. But when it's not like that, then Sankaru Narakayava, Sankara, there'll be Vana Sankara. Adama Bhibavat Krishna Pradeshan Kulasya Shishu Dishashava Jayati Vana Sankara. Again, there's a few verses there in Bhagavad Gita. When your religion is prominent, there'll come Vana Sankara. Vana and Ashrama, but not Vana Sankara. Sankara means unwanted children. And when there's unwanted children, they won't be peaceful. You'll attract those entities to come, and they won't be peaceful. They'll be full with moral passion and ignorance, and all sorts of things will be destroyed. Now we have so much trouble with youth crime in so many countries of the world. You know, a lot of the crime, I was just reading, in the north of Australia, in the Townsville, big problem with youth crime. They're going wild, they're stealing the cars, and the police chase them, and they're ramming the police cars. They're coming in and stealing the car from the people, and sometimes breaking in the house. And just they're young kids, between 12 and between 10 and 15. 10 and 15. So it's got so much out of hand in Townsville that they've had to send the police from Brisbane to tackle the situation. So everywhere, so much youth crime, and they don't understand so many things, and then they want to destroy everything. You know, the people, they want to have a nice park, put a nice gazebo, pagoda, and then someone will go there and smash it. You see that everywhere. Isn't it? You see that everywhere. And actually mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna says that the community projects will be destroyed. So the community likes to have nice parks, nice this, nice that, but then the unwanted children, unsatisfied, agitated, going around and just smashing everything or doing some crime. Now this is the result. Everything is related and linked. Now if they can be varnashram nicely, then it can be reversed. And the higher spiritual dharma, and especially the Krishna consciousness, then things can be reversed. But as long as it's not like that, and unfortunately we're seeing in the world, and Prabhupada points this out in purport here, unfortunately in the age of Kali there is no ideal husbands, no ideal wives, therefore unwanted children produce, and there is no peace and prosperity in the present day of the world. Of course the children grow up, they're agitated already and when they're young, and then they grow up and they're going to be agitated adults now, and always fighting with one another. Gun, bring the gun. Someone, the devotee was telling me from America, he said in America, he said there's been, what do they call that, nearly 400, just this year, the year's not finished, over 400 mass murders, mass killings. I think I forget the name. Mass means where more than two people are killed in one instance. So already this year there's been over 400 just in America. That means more than one a day. Where someone goes to the school with a machine gun, someone goes with a knife. There's more than 400 already. And it's become like, and every day you read so many killings. He said that you read 2 or 3 times a day, 4 or 5 times. Even this country, or many countries of the world. So this is a result of Vana Sankara. And as they grow up, they become agitated, then it becomes little wars. When it becomes full-scale war. And when they're younger, maybe it's just local. As they grow older, they get into positions of power, and they become despots and dictators, and they want to start wars, form alliances. And that's how you read in the history of the world, when these leaders with no control of their own positions, they're out of control, they just want to control, they want to rule the world, they form alliances with the other ones. We see it right back, going back in the history of time even, and in the history, modern history of the First World War, when alliances were formed, and then alliances will form, and then it will become World War, Second World War, same alliances. And even now they're talking like that. Now Russia is allying with China, and then an alliance on the other side. So it can be, actually, at any moment, can be a flashpoint, can be very easily become a world war. And that's exactly how it happened before in the modern history, and it happened since time immemorial like that. Alliances. Alliances are made, and then they alliance. That's like in the Battle of Kurukshetra. Duryodhana got so many alliances together of the different kingdoms and the different kings, and the Pandavas on that side, alliance of different kings, and they, boom, they're fighting. Because the Pandavas had Krishna on their side, so they were victorious. So this is the situation. It all comes from not being peaceful. Now, interestingly, a good point here is that if you're peaceful in the family, if the husband and wife are peaceful, the problem. He points to, then if they are satisfied with their mutual dealings, so good children are born. And then he says, he goes on to say this, good children are born, and in this way the entire world can become peaceful. Interesting point. He brings it back to the family. In the family, if it's peaceful and happy, then the children, then so many families doing the same thing, then the whole world can become peaceful. But in the families, not peaceful, angry, fighting, and every family same, then the whole world becomes like the Naraka, like the hell. And we're seeing it now. Very interesting point. Papa, his purports, so he thinks very carefully before he writes. He's protecting what the other acharyas have said. Very wonderful purports. All right, so thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Does anyone have any question, comment? Yes.
I'm just wondering out of this camp, because generally we hear that Mother Lakshmi is one can only be placed if we worship on Lord Krishna. But in today's purpose, the whole focus is on that it said that Lakshmi comes automatically just husband and wife please each other.
Yes, because in the you're worshipping Lord Yagya. You're worshipping Vishnu, so automatically she comes. Now Lakshmi can be worshipped separately, but if you worship separately, she is known as Chanchali. She doesn't stay very long where her husband is not there. So you may worship her, maybe she'll give you some blessing, but generally it'll just be something quickly and then she goes. But if you're worshipping, so in the family, the main point is that you're following Varna Ashram and you're doing the yagyas or having the yagyas, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Narayan, is worshipped. So naturally Lakshmi is going to be there, and then there'll be prosperity, there'll be peaceful, there'll be happy, there will be prosperity. Lakshmi will be happy because you're worshipping her husband. So she's going to be happy. So therefore, nice situation for everyone. So there's a connection there. So there are many who worship Lakshmi separately, but as I said, Chanchali, she's very flickering. She won't stay very long without Lord Narayan or Lord Vishnu. Any other questions? Yes. Are you getting these questions off the net, are you? Yeah. What is it?
I was just wondering, to this day, when yajna is performed, say either Sankirtan yajna or say forest sacrifice like Narasimha yajna, which we quite often perform in the temple.
Which yajna?
The Narasimha yajna, Narasimha home, or even the Shanti yajna, I think they call it. I'm just wondering, the demigods or the Yajna Purusha himself, do they come to partake the offerings when we're actually pouring offerings into the along the chanting mantras?
Well, I mean, they are very cognizant personality. They said the demigods, because of the age of the Kali, that they don't come first. In the previous ages, they would sometimes, they're not obligated to come, but they would sometimes personally come to accept the offerings. They would come, because the people were very nice, especially Satya Yuga or the Treta Yuga or something like that. They would come. But Prabhupada mentions throughout the Bhagavatam, and he also mentioned many times in conversation that in Kali Yuga it is a very unpleasant age. Why would the demigods want to come here? You know, just if it's a nice place, people are nice, you like to go there. But if it's the Kali Yuga, everyone's fighting and war and horrible activities going on, they don't like to come there. But they are aware that offerings are made, and they accept, in their positions, they can accept that. Even they don't know if it physically comes. It actually is carried by Agni through the offering into the fire, and is offered to the Supreme Personality. But the proper way to do it, offer. The fire is the representative of the Supreme Lord Vishnu, and therefore is offered in the fire. He carries to Lord Vishnu and he accepts the offering. And so then the demigods also can be there, and they get their shares of the offering. But in the Kali Yuga, no, you won't find devas. But then Prabhupada told us Sankirtan, we're doing Sankirtan Yajna, and sometimes the demigods come invisibly to see the Sankirtan Yajna, and great sages like Narad Muni, they're invisibly looking and on the Sankirtan. And we're reading in Perth, I was giving class on the 5th canto of the Bhagavatam, how the demigods are praying to take birth in the Bharat Vash, because even though in the Bharat Vash, especially in the Kali Yuga, is very horrible, still they're thinking that because of the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, the Sankirtan movement has come, and if one follows and takes shelter of Lord Chaitanya and his Sankirtan movement, one can very quickly go from the lowest position to the highest position. So the demigod, I was reading actually the statements of the demigods as given by Sukadeva, and he was saying that they are praying. I want to take birth in the Sankirtan movement because here we live a long time, and maybe we'll be elevated. But there, if I go in the Sankirtan movement, I can very quickly. I can go back and I'm back to earth by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. So they're praying to take birth in the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, but generally in the Kali Yuga, they don't personally come. It's too horrible age. Any other question? Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Radha Gopinath ki jai, Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol.